Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be talking about my way of trading. So my way of trading, my trading style consists of, in brief, three things: the logic behind the algorithm, ICT concept, so ICT inner circle trader. So from the ICT concept, I took the fair value gaps, order blocks, and the liquidity. And also the liquidity inducement theory that I talked about in my first video, the introduction video. And mainly it is about this liquidity inducement theory that my perception is based on. This is how I like to see the chart. So first, we will start from where it all began. Not my trading career, but where I really found my edge and consistency. So it all clicked on the January 26th of this year, so of 2022. On this day, I don't know how to describe the feeling, but when I saw the move that you will see in the next slides, it was like like a revelation, like it all clicked like a wow moment. So from this day, it took me like some months, like 3 months, to really get this new way of trading. So I backtested every day, the best setups until I found real consistency. And so now I can call it my edge. But first, it was just a new perception of the market. So now we'll see screenshots of this day that I took this day. So sorry for the markups. Those are live markups that I did on this day. So what is this perception about? So here you can see this range from low to high. And then you can see this small range. So this is the 15-minute chart. So you can see this small range here. For me, this is what inducement is about. So we will induce buyers to buy from this range, and take their stop losses, take their liquidity here. Okay. So when I see a big push and then, like for a new range formation like this, it appears often, I would say, I know that people would place a stop loss there. So I would like to target this place. Okay. So when I saw this, and then in 5 minutes, I saw this one, this little range, like a break of structure, because people usually, when I first learned SMC, you have order blocks almost everywhere, and people usually wait, for example, it is testing this order block. People wait for a confirmation, so a small break of structure before buying. Okay, so now people would buy here from this order block, put their stop loss either here or below the main range. So when I get two move like this, for me, it is time to sell, to target. So when people will want to buy, when they have a confirmation, so people are induced to buy with this breakout structure, for me, it is time to sell. So I'm looking for a sell, and the time it gets to get to your order block for buy, I'm already sell, like the algorithm. So the algorithm main objective, main target is always liquidity. I don't think it really cares about structure and all this. I think it's all about liquidity. That's the main interest of the major players, the algorithm of central banks, etc. So now this is the 1 minute chart. You remember this little range inside this little range inside this big range. So this is the entry. So I will go in depth about entries in my next video, but I always wait for shift in market structure, what I call SMS, shift in market structure. So here is one of the patterns I like. You know, there is a retest. This green candle fails to make a new high, then it makes a new low. So this make lower high. So when I have a lower high, I know I can sell inside and boom. So the trend, the market structure has changed and we can sell and target first this liquidity, then this TP is liquidity from big range. So as you see, we come back to the previous screen, there is a small order block here. For me, this can be like a pullback order block, but it's not something I would trade for a long-term perspective. So when I saw this, then I was interested to buy, because now sellers are induced to sell with this breakout structure. So their new range would be from here to here. And most people will try to sell this order block because it is the one that broke the structure, etc. And it took liquidity and all this. So people will try to sell from here. Therefore, my new target is this liquidity, TP1. Now I'm looking to buy because all people want to sell. Okay, so this is the 1 minute chart entry. This is like a fair value gap entry. Again, I will talk about this in the next video in more detail. So this is like a ICT style entry. So then we target this liquidity, TP done. Next, now that we have created the break of structure, kind of, that's why it's written like this. People now will want to buy. Why? Because we have an order block. Most people will see this order block. It's very clean. And we have a breakout structure. So people will want to buy there or there and place their stop loss either here or here. Okay. So yeah, for buyers, it is now a confirmation. And for me, it is a confirmation of the reverse. So this, don't pay really attention to this. It was like an old markup. But yeah, now I'm looking for the sell again. This was my markup, old markup, but to be honest, today I wouldn't trade from here, but rather from this one. The shift in market structure happens here. Why? Because look, this order block creates the push-up that takes liquidity. Then we retest. The green candle doesn't make a new high. It makes a new low. So for me, this is a shift in market structure. You can trade from here and place your stop loss above. And then, yeah, target this liquidity. Okay, so this is the logic that I found this day. So to make this clear, all those trades were not like live trade with money, but they were backtested live. So it's kind of strange to say backtested live, but I was testing them live with a simulation entry. and then it was not like backtest at the end of the day. So from this day, I saw I had a new perception of the market. It took me 3 months to really master this new perception. So it always takes time, even if you get like the right way. I don't know if it's like the right way of training, but it was the right way for me, for my personality. So now I have tried to make a simple step formula to follow. I mean, it's not my strategy point by point, but when I thought about this, I was like, okay, what I'm doing every day when I open my chart. So the first thing I do when I open up my chart is I ask myself this question: where are the stop losses? So where is the trap? Okay. When I found out this, I know where is the liquidity, because the stop losses are the liquidity. And therefore, this is my TP. So the first thing I find, is my TP. Why? Because this will give me the direction and also the exit. Most people look for an entry, but they don't know where they will exit. And for me, the most important is the exit, the direction and the exit, If you are in the right direction and you know where you take your TP, then you can look for areas of interest. So the second question I ask myself is, at the actual price, when I open up my chart, are people induced to trade in the same direction? Is there any internal liquidity that would induce more people to sell or buy in the same direction and therefore create more liquidity? So therefore, I look at areas where I don't want to trade first. So internal liquidity and the inducement. And when I know this, it gives me my areas where I want to trade. And once I know the direction I want to trade and where I want to trade, then I look for an entry. So for the SMS, shift in market structure. So my last thing is the entry. First thing, I direction and TPs. Then I look for where I want and don't want to trade. And then I look for the entry. So I will give you an example of a day trade that I took recently. So this week, I believe it was Thursday, so on the 19th of May. Just for information, the time displayed on the chart is Paris time, so my local time. I live in France. So when it says 8 in Paris, it is 7 in London. Second information, I trade only the London session currently because I work as a waiter in my girlfriend's restaurant in the afternoon. I love serving people, and this gives me a side income apart from trading, until like I get a really consistent income from my FTMO's account. So now this is a daily chart, daily range view. Why is it so unzoomed? Because I want you to see the sell side liquidity, which is important because most people, this is like the last point of this whole range. And most people that try to buy here and here and here and here, now they would think, okay, this is the last point for buying. So like 95% of people would want to buy here. Like there is no other solution in their perception, and in my old perception too, because I used to trade like this. For me, the range was from here to there. Okay, this is the last unmitigated order block. I would even snipe this order block, but thankfully now my perception is the reverse. So now this is my target. Okay, so now let's zoom in a little bit, still on the daily chart. Remember my second point of my 3 steps formula? So my first point was looking for the stop losses. So here is the first stop. And here for me are stop losses too, and I will explain why. My second point was, is there any internal liquidity that would induce more people to sell, buy, and therefore create more liquidity? Okay, so here we are into selling order flow. So there are people who would snipe the entry for buy, but most people like to have a confirmation. What is a confirmation for most people? It is a break of structure. So this is a point of structure that people would want to break before buying. But for me, here, I'm okay with this view, but so I want to take this one. So people have a confirmation for buy, and for me, it's a confirmation for sell to target this last liquidity point. So I'm looking for the same thing as people, but for me, it's not the same value, you know, the same perception. So I want this break of structure so it can create more stop losses below this point, more liquidity to take. And for me, it's more safe because I think here some people will try to sell. No, I don't think a lot of people will try, but I think there's still liquidity above this point. If people follow like structure and order flow, they would want to sell right there. Especially this is like the daily chart, but you will see in 1 hour, it's looking like a bearish range. Okay. So you have this external range. It's internal range in daily, but in hourly perspective, for me, it's external range. And here is the internal range on the hourly chart. So for me, this is a perfect point to target for stop losses. Okay. Why? Okay, let's follow the price. Here we have a breakout structure. So what will people look for? They will look for sell here, here. So people got already trapped here. Okay, so this liquidity is taken. Now, this is the last point for people to sell in this internal range. So this is my target. Now, second point, again, we need to induce more people. We need to induce more people to sell and therefore create more liquidity above this point. Therefore, we need to make like a breakout structure. Okay. Here we go. On the 15-minute chart, you see we have this breakout structure. Here, there was an imbalance, a fair value gap trade that could have been done the previous days. So you see this wick, it goes a little bit above those equals. And then we continue. So now in 15 minutes, this becomes the external range. And this one becomes internal range. Okay. So new point of liquidity, new target. We have this order block and this one. Currently, when I open up my chart on the 19th of May, so this is a replay, okay? So you can see the whole thinking behind my trade. So I saw this order block that I know most people would want to trade. Now I know that there are stop losses here also, okay, above this point. But so I know the direction and I know my exits, multiple exits, 1, 2, 3 at least, okay? And also on the hourly chart, you remember this exit and all this liquidity, buy side liquidity equals, call it like you want. So this is like more long term, like it depends on the volume. And this is like short-term intraday targets. And this one also, I didn't mark it up, but this is liquidity above this purple zone. So now I know the exit and the direction. So I know I want to buy, okay? The bias is buy, but would I want to buy here from this order block? Here or below? So what I don't want to buy, I don't want to buy is in this range. I don't want to buy here because for now we have a positive order flow. So people will want to buy here, okay? So there will be both people interested to sell and to buy. So I will want to have like a breakout structure stuff, always the same thing, to induce more people to sell and put their stop loss above. So there would be no buyers also to take the buyers out. So the buyers will think, okay, let's buy here. Now we have a breakout structure inside an order block. Okay, now most people will like to sell and I can look for a buy. So now this is the 5-minute chart. Here we go. We have the breakout structure, the fake breakout structure. And the stop losses are now mostly here. No, sorry, this is still the 15-minute. Yes, this is still the 15-minute chart, but zoomed in. Now we get into the 5-minute chart. So in the 5-minute chart, you know, you have all these unmitigated order blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to be honest, I was first looking at this fair value gap area just below this, what I call liquidity inducement trap. So for me, this point was to be broken, but I would look anything below this. Here you also have equals, but if I get a buy setup, like my third entry criteria, the shift of market structure, I would enter here. However, we had no entry criteria, no shift in market structure. So I was okay, let's wait. Let's wait. So no FOMO, no fear of missing out. I always wait my criteria, my parameters before entering any trades. So because I know even if I miss this entry, there is always another entry until this top at least is broken. Okay. So now we took this liquidity also, and we have a fair value gap at the bottom here. So now I also try to look for a shift in market structure. So let's go in the 1 minute. This is one of the pattern I like also. It's not the most easy pattern to recognize, but it's also effective. So a shift in market structure, it does not always have to take the highs. I mean, when you look for a bullish shift, it can first translate only into the lows. So we have a first higher low, and sometimes it happens that I take it even on the first higher low if we have like a doji or like a hammer or something, you know, a small candle. If this candle was here, so failed, so you make the first move, you fail to make a new low, you create a new higher low with such type of candles, then I would took the buy here as an entry and stop loss below. But I saw this big candle, I will not enter right there. So I was thinking, okay, if I get a third higher low, then I would enter right after the candle close and put my stop loss below. Okay, so I got this one. I entered here, stop loss below and with the spread. So, you know, I always allow like maybe 1 pip or something like this below, even though my spread is like 0.3 maximum, I think, on EU. I allow 1 pips, you know, you never know. So I entered my trade right here. Then you see big red candle. Most people would be scared. I was not. And then this is the 5-minute chart again. Boom. I will be honest, I took my full TP right there, right above this high, because it was RR11. And for me, it's more than enough. Trading FTMO with RR11. But I knew at least deep inside, I knew that we would get into here. But you know, I am working starting like 12. So I didn't want really to wait. I was not in front of the chart. So I saw my alert pop up. Boom, I took my profits. The day was done. My profits for the day was done. I don't care what it does after. Every day. So here is also something very important I want to share with you. Before, as I had no real confidence, I wanted to trade like this, you know, one trade with like RR30. Because deep inside, I didn't believe that I could make those trades every day. And I first got consistent when I stopped looking for those big trades. And instead, I was looking to make at least 1% a day. So I'm always risking less than 0.5%. Sometimes, to be honest, I think for this one, I risked 0.1 or 0.2%. 0.1%, I think. I risked 0.15, yeah, something like this. And I made 1.5%. So really small risk because so I was using regular lots, but as the TP was like 2.5 pips, it was really small risk. But whatever. The point is, I was looking to make consistent results every day. And so 10 days in a row, I had 0 losing day. I had losses. Sometimes I took 1 loss and then I won again. I took 1 or 2 winning trades, but 0 losing day in 10 days. So when I started to trade for consistency and not for a big profits in one trade, this is where I found consistency, my edge, etc. And now, you know, with time, of course, I will increase my risk with confidence with time. I will risk maybe 1% a trade. And so here I would take 11% or 16 or whatever, or I would at least take half here and maybe wait for this one. But the main thing, the first thing you have to look for is consistency. If you can make 1% a day, just 1%, every day or almost every day, because someday, you know, you don't really have setups or something like this, or you missed the setup. It happens to me one day in these 10 days. It's okay, because you know, the day after, you know, you have some confidence. And this, believe me, this changed everything. When you are not afraid, when you are in a confident state, you are not over trading, you are not fearing of missing out, you are not greedy, you know, all this disappear. You are being consistent, clear, rational, everything gets clear, and it shows in your results. So this is very important. Look for consistency and not for one big move. Okay. So yeah, this is my life. This was my life TP. This was take profit for me. That was the most advised. So if I would have let my trade develop here, I would have taken probably all my TP also. And this was for me the final TP for the day, because I did not expect such continuation, sorry. But remember, this was the range that I was looking for. This range, okay. Then you have the big range here. So this TP, I think it reached this TP, and even, sorry, in 1 hour, even this one, it took until there, I think. All this in one day. So you will see. Okay, so this is also a second entry for those who may have missed this one. This is an ICT style entry with the fair value gap. So if you have not seen the ICT 2022 mentorship, I advise you to go look for it. I want to be honest. The ICT mentorship also gave me a lot more confidence with my entry and with my trade management. So I thank him. I'm very grateful for his mentorship. I don't know if one day he will see my video, but thank you. So this entry is based on the fair value gap with the displacement, etc. entry. You could enter right here. So why I put a FIBO? Just to see the equilibrium. So I want to buy at a discount and sell at a premium here. We just touched the discount. We closed inside the fair value gap. So perfect entry would have been there, but you could enter right from there or there, whatever. Inside this fair value gap, stop loss below here, below this big candle. Okay. So as I told you, there is always a second entry, because even though we took this liquidity, look here, people maybe would think this is a breakout structure, you know, in lower time frame in 1 minute. So they would want to sell. So this creates new liquidity. etc., etc. It's always the same thing. Inducement, where is the liquidity? Can they induce more people to create more liquidity and look for an entry? Where not to trade, where to trade, etc. So where not to trade here, it would have been there. And once we break some structure and induce people to sell, we can look for an entry. So now this is the 1 hour view with the 2 trades. Here we took most of the liquidity. So now what's next? Now that we took all this liquidity. So remember, I want to target this buy side liquidity before we go back to the sell side daily liquidity. So this is a new range. This created a new range. So now this could be a potential target to take liquidity there before going up. So we induce more people to sell before going up inside above, sorry, buy side liquidity. So this could be a possible scenario, but now I'm seeing that we are making some selling structure. So maybe, you know, inside this fair value gap or something like this, we can find a buy and we are not forced to go below there. Okay, it really depends. I mean, I'm not predicting any future price. I just know where the liquidity is and I know what I'm looking for. And depending on when I wake up, I will see exactly most of the time, I will see where the price is aiming on a daily basis. But to predict like this, all the price movement is not an easy task. So I'm just making some scenarios. So that's it. So yeah, just why I'm targeting this, because now people will look to buy. Okay, they will try to buy maybe there. So this could be also a good pullback, this fair value gap here, good pullback area. Or they'll try to buy, if it comes below here, it will probably take the liquidity because people will try to buy there and put the stop loss here. And maybe you see here there's a little fair value gap. Maybe we could revisit in there and then go up. So that's it for today. I hope it was clear. I hope I gave you some value. That's very important for me. I do it for free. So it's not for me, it's for you guys. So thanks for watching. And yeah, the only way for us to help people achieve their dream is first by reaching them. And yeah, most people do in fact judge a business or a video or a book by its cover and its reviews. You know, you all know it. So if you have found this video valuable, please take a brief moment to share this video or leave an honest commentary at the end of this video. It will cost you $0 and less than a minute. And you sharing this video will help one more trader to find his edge and consistency, one more person to support his family and loved ones, because you know, I think most people trade also to make some money, to achieve their dream, to support their family. And lastly, one more life change for the better. Thank you guys. So you have the link for my website and you can visit our Instagram page. I will start posting every week at least one setup, and I will try making a video to explain it. But if there is no video, you will have the explanation on the screenshot. Thank you, guys.